Namaste. Darpan Foundation welcomes all to this Upanishad, Relation Between Art and Spirituality, with Guruji Sri Nandkishore Tiwari and Miss Pratibha Prahlad. Art is an expression of the spiritual core of life. As Guruji says, assume other as divine, know thyself as one. Essentially, all are one or none. This principle that everyone is one in the spiritual dimension of experience is our original unity, which we have forgotten, and art illustrates this truth to us. Guruji Sri Nandkishore Tiwari is the propounder of Sahaj Smriti Yoga, the simplest path that makes spirituality amenable to family persons across the globe. Guruji established the Universal Forum for Human Dignity in the year 2002 and founded Darpan Sahaj Smriti Yoga Ashram at Urigam in 2018. This ashram gives an experience that leads to knowing how one's body, mind, self, and soul attains to its ultimate potential. Our host, Miss Pratibha Prahlad, is an acclaimed Bharatnatyam dancer whose contribution to the field of art goes beyond her dance career of over 40 years. Apart from being a distinguished performer, an educator, a choreographer, an arts administrator, an author, and a cultural visionary, she is the founder director of the world famous Delhi International Arts Festival. Miss Pratibha Prahlad was honored by the Government of India with the Padma Shri in 2016 in recognition for her service to the field of arts. She is the youngest recipient of the Central Sangeet Natak Academy Award for Dance 2001. She has also received the Karnataka State Government Award 2001, Sangeet Nritya Academy of Karnataka 1997. So now let us commence today's Upanishad. Audience, do feel free to ask your questions via Zoom audio or type them in the chat box, and Guruji will address them. We are sharing the links to our Facebook and YouTube page. I request all to subscribe to the channel as the answers will be shared soon via this channel. Kindly request all to disable the video and mute the audio so that the bandwidth can be optimized for the Zoom Upanishad. In today's Upanishad, let us explore the interconnectedness of art and spirituality. Before handing over to our host, Ms. Pratibha Prahlad, I request Guruji to say a few words.
अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तमयेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Welcome to Sri Pratibha Prahlad ji, our audience, and to commence this Upanishad, what this slok says, let me begin with this. It says that we are the one who is pervaded by all the orbits and the one who sees that. It has three meanings. One sees, the one who is capable of seeing, and the one who makes others see. Tat padam, pad means that place, that stage. If one is seeing all the time, so we bow down to that one because that is the one who is called Guru. The one who is seeing all the orbits, like we have sun orbit, we have orbits in which galaxies are moving here and there. So when somebody is seeing all, so we say bow down to that is the Guru. Today's topic, or any time when we come for this Upanishad, our purpose is that we are in a conversation. That conversation, when we come out of it, by that time some kind of enhancement our understanding should have happened, that we understand ourselves, our world in a much better way. And when it is about Upanishad, then mostly we are talking about higher self, that is existential question, that who we are, what are we doing here, is there any purpose in life, and if it is that, then how to attain to that. So in a way, going deeper dimensions of one's existence. That is the purpose of Upanishads mostly. So here we have chosen these three words are there: relationship, art, and spirituality. So simple one-liner to set the all rolling. I will give 2-3 words this thing definition about it. So spirituality means union of soul with the ultimate source. That is one sentence, because definitions are relevant only to the context. So every context, every orbit we change, we have a different definition. So that's one definition. Then art, how do we see the art? Art is a way, a means to express and explore oneself. It is the means, the end, and the medium. All three things are there in the art. And in its ultimate sense, we define it through, we take the Sanskrit or Hindi words Kal and Kala. They are related. Kal, Kala, Kali, all three you can say they are related. Because Kal emanates from eternity, it's called Sanatan. And then the moment it is emanated, it becomes Kala. So first thing emanates is Kala, that we call in different forms power, Shakti, Kali, things. In different schools and different spaces people come to terms with that and experience that. So Kala is that. And Sambandh, which we call relationship, what is it? Sambandh is companionship without any condition. This is Sambandh, even bond. So if there is any condition, then there is no even bond possible. So we call Sambandh is love. This is Prem ka Sambandh. It is not Prem ka Sambandh. Love itself is a relationship. That is Sambandh itself. Because evenness is there. When you see whole creation flourishing within you, then you cannot become anything other than love. So this is simple definition about the three words, and this is where we are going into the conversation. And rest I hand over myself to Pratibha Prahladji, because as we say in Sahaj Smriti Yoga, see other divine. So see is none other but present divine before me, before all of us. Let us see how it goes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. In India, we have a very deep understanding of God and truth. Creation or art, as you called it, Guruji, is not something that is separate from God, as you yourself said. Creation is the Leela of God. It's God's Leela. It is He Himself living and hiding in many forms. So sometimes God becomes the ocean, He Himself becomes the mountain, He is the fish, He is the dwarf man, He is the sinner, and He is the saint. So God is not one entity or one personhood. In fact, I'm speaking of God today in the masculine gender, because I'm going to speak of Kala or art in the feminine gender. And to me, both these, like I was speaking yesterday, Prakriti and Purusha, the beginning of the universe, the beginning of life itself, are so interconnected. So like I said, God is not just one person, and you more than anybody else would know that, Guruji. So therefore, God is the very stuff that we believe that this universe is made of. And He is the creator, but He is also the creation. So I think, you will be in a better position to explain this, how God, who is the creator, is also the creation. You just now said that we see divinity in everything, in every human being, in every living being. We see divinity in the insect. We see divinity, in the most majestic of animals. We see divinity in every human being. And that is why when we do Namaste, we say we bow to the divine in you. Because in our philosophy, we recognize the divinity in the other, that we are a creation of God and so is the other. Well, when we talk about God being the same person, I mean, there is, of course, the philosophy of Dvaita and Advaita, and you're better equipped to talk about it. But in everything in this universe, since it belongs to God, so we talk about, his dance, the majestic dance of God. Everything is his Leela. Everything is a play. Everything is an illusion. Everything, like I said, is Maya, Mahamaya, an illusion. We think of God as the dancer, Nataraja. He is Nataraja. And in his stillness, he meditates upon himself. He is the entire universe. He is the cosmic dancer, Lord Nataraja. And everything is his play, his dance, his majesty. His dance creates the universe, gives birth to the universe. The entire Brahmanda is his creation when he dances. The dance of Ananda Tandava or the dance of Shrishti. And then there's the dance of Samhara where he gets angry and then there's Pralaya and then he tries to destroy everything around him. So both Shrishti, creation, and Samhara, destruction, are two sides of the same coin. And when we talk about spirituality, or when we enter into the world of art, we already know that this Leela, this Mahamaya of God is where we are as actors, dancers, singers, and that Shrishti, creation, and Samhara, dissolution, destruction, rebirth, recreation, are both the play of the universe. So I'd like your thoughts on that, Guruji.
Thank you, Pratibhaji. So wonderfully you describe how through arts we express humanity as well as divinity. Now when we see these two terms, humanity, divinity, for common understanding, how to understand this. When we are saying divine, we just say this is a word. How to make it real? Then we have to come to the present. There are two kinds of thoughts when people delve into consciousness, higher consciousness, and existential questions, want to know their identity. These are two approaches generally seen. First is, few people approach that it is divine that has descended into human. Means from divine we have devolved to be human. And another approach is that we are human trying to evolve to divine. These are two kinds of thoughts which keep doing rounds, and all intellectual discourses, even most of people's sadhana, keep revolving around it. But for a spiritual person, really speaking, these two are both appearing to be two sides of the same coin. Whether you are seeing from this side that you are devolving from divine to human, or you are evolving from human to divine, ultimately we come to the present only. So when we come to the present, then we see the human being who we are as flesh and blood in front of one another. Then how to understand this, how to decipher this, and that is where the role of kala or sadhana comes. That if you are something more than what you are appearing to be within yourself, are there some such dimensions within you which even you are an explorer, you are trying to understand what is within me, who am I really? That is where the real spirituality begins. So it accommodates both styles. If somebody is wanting to go through this, no Guruji, I want to evolve, I consider myself only a flesh and blood human being, please show me the path so that I evolve to the human. That is also welcome. The Guru can't say no. Spiritual Guru has this, no word is not there in his dictionary. Whosoever comes, like we have examples, to the Shiva, Ram is coming and Ravan is coming. He is happy to welcome both. And to, according to their capacity, both are attaining to their divinity and realizing their destiny. That is how it is. So, in human garb when we are, then there is a certain way that how to explore. So art becomes means to two things. One is self-exploration and another is self-expression. So when we are doing self-expression, when artist is performing as giving it a self-expression and trying to transcend that self, where at that moment that artist might be. So then her or his exploration is happening within. She or he is reaching maybe to the heights of ecstasy. But the audience present before her or him, that audience is also reaching somewhere. Some rasa is coming there and they are also becoming some way. Not if that much, they are not having that much approach towards it, how to appreciate it, how it is moving, all nuances are not clear to them. Still bhava transcends that, because bhava is within every being. That is what we call nasato vidyate bhava. That means the truth alone is bhava. So the being is truth. We begin from there, that as a being, if you consider yourself truth, then all else will become illusion to you. If you do not consider yourself truth and begin your journey, then everything else will appear to be true for you. So illusion we call to a thing which is not untrue, which is something between untruth and truth. It is not real, yet it is not unreal as well. It is appearance. So it is there. So how to negotiate this journey of appearances within and delve deep within and reach to that which we call divine. So until and unless one oneself experiences, books will not be of any use. So this has to be, you read n number of scriptures. You will find very good experiences experienced by saints, but they are like you are sitting on a bank and seeing that river is flowing. Until you dive deep into the river, you don't know what it is. You may enjoy it as an art. So art has very many roles to play. Here we say that people are born with divine colors, arts they are born. And we say that whole creation is also art, kala, as clearly. So our ancestors, seers and saints, they saw things and they documented that. That is why we call them rishi, seer. They have not mixed anything of their own. As they saw, so they described. That is why they are called mantras. That if you also do sadhana, and you will also see, because this creation which we call, it is not different from creation. It is as it is always. Only in Maya, as you said, Mahamaya and Maya, we are roaming and going through that, enjoying our journey by really knowing who I am. So that is how we call ourselves Amritasya Putra Vayam. If we take this approach, then this will lead us to the Sanatana. Sanatana means eternal being. That you realize yourself that despite all these Mayak things around you, all the time you are also becoming so much Maya. You take this form, you become that form, and you are none of these and you are all of these. But you never waver from the truth, because you know you are the truth. And there is a journey. In spirituality we say these are stages. It begins with Sanatana, which we call eternal, without beginning, without end, which is always there. Now that is the highest state to be acquired, to be attained to be experienced to. That is the ultimate. Below that, if you come, it is ahimsa. Tough to attain to ahimsa. Param dharam jagvidit ahimsa. Ultimate dharma. There are so many dharma. We can go on. Swadharma is there, Pardharma is there. So many things are there. Apat dharma. A number of dharma. But param dharma, ultimate dharma, we say, is ahimsa. And then below, if you come, then there is truth. It might, to some it might be surprising that is truth below the ahimsa? Yes, it is truth. Truth is below ahimsa. Then is dharma, and then is prem last. Human journey generally begins with love, because they are at the lowest order. Then they experience. So once I had written what is dharma, I said prem dharma ka karma hai, karma prem ka dharma. केवट कुंती द्रौपदी इन जाना कछु मर्म, प्रेम कर्म का धर्म है, धर्म प्रेम का कर्म. That if you know, you act out of love, that becomes dharma. Then you realize one more stage. Then you go up, then you go higher, then you realize the truth. Then we say, what is dharma na dusar satya samana? It is already given through scriptures, through seers. It is not that I have made this order. I have just made it simple for people that they don't have to go through so many books and here and there wander. Just simple words they can comprehend and understand it and make their journey. So dharma na dusar satya samana. There is no other dharma than the truth. So truth is higher, and param param, as we say, the ahimsa. So that way, but our mode of life, we are saying the way we are living, somewhat violence is there in the life. So we cannot be truly ahimsa. Even when a child is born, what can be wonderful event than this in the creation? There also some pain is there to the mother. Some violence is happening. It is another matter that she is so overpowered by the ecstasy of creation that she is not minding that pain. But it is there, some violence is there. Even when a child is suckling the breast of the mother, some violence is there if the moment milk is not there. But is anybody complaining about it? No, they are going joyfully with it. They are loving it. That's what we call love. So the way creation is and the way Creator is, it is one and same only. Only this our journey through frames and forms is happening. And fortunately, human frame, in that also there is a tilt towards female frame. That I will come some other time. That why divine is tilted little towards femininity. Why it is tilted little towards feminine. So I say female frame is a little more endowed with how to realize far more early than the male counterpart. But this is a very big topic. So here we are saying that if this true frame, human frame, is one frame, it is both male and female, I am including. Human frame is male, female, and now this we have to be politically correct, then third gender also. We go down to all of them. That they are also same as like we are human beings. So they are this way, this frame is the only frame in this creation which has the potential to realize the ultimate, which I have named Sanatana. I have named means not, you know it clearly, it is not me who have named it. I am saying that this is how Sanatana should be seen. The one that is always there, without beginning, without end, and human being has that potential that it can be realized, and that is why we called it Sanatana Guru Parampara. That it is through Guru only that when Guru becomes the medium, as we said in the beginning of this sloka, then only we can go from one orbit to another orbit. Then our Mayak Sarir, we came to know. Now we are in this orbit. Suppose we are reaching to the sun orbit. We will not be in this flesh and blood frame. Can't be, because it is too heat and hot there. But that is how it is creation. If we read our stories and come to know how people cross from one orbit to another, it is through Sanatana Guru Parampara. That is why in this land, we say India is a blessed land. Because most of the incarnations happened here. Those incarnations means the ones who realized their ultimate while they were here in human frame. So many are unsung, so many are happy in their seclusion. It is not that they are any less. They are not even minding what I have got to do to go into the public. They are doing their sadhana in their own loneliness and enjoying the whole unity with the whole creation. So such vast is this journey, and Kala, as we say, plays a very important role. Even when we say no, such words you may have, all of us may have heard that Krishna was born with 16 Kalas. Shiva has 64 Kalas. So what? Everything we are seeing and how it can be otherwise. When I have said in the very beginning that the moment the Kala begins, this means time begins. Time's another name is consciousness also. When the consciousness begins, its journey, it descends from the Sanatana, it becomes creation, that is consciousness, and it becomes, so it is Kal and Kala becomes synonymous, and then feminine first word becomes Kali. That is how our journey has been happening. People symbolically been telling, but it is all within human frame. Point is, are we ready to consider ourselves truth or are not we? If we consider ourselves truth, then we move towards divinity within you, and if we do not consider that and we consider ourselves only mortal despite having experiences, all the time we are coming back to the mortal coil and identifying with it, then the journey will become longer. That's all.
You said a set of mulya, truths, beliefs, convictions that our Sanatana Dharma is based on. And like I always say, in India, you cannot separate creation from creativity, or the creator from his creation. You can't separate the two. We think of the creator as the dancer, and we think of all creation around him as his dance. Now you cannot separate the dancer and the dance. So therefore you cannot separate creator from all of creation. That is what Advaita theory is about. And often when I speak about the arts, I say that many art forms like singing, vocal music, for instance, like painting or like sculpture, is Dvaita. It's a Dvaita art. You can separate the art from the artist. Now the painter creates his painting and then he can step back and view his painting. Long after the painter, has lived his life and gone, you can still enjoy the paintings, his paintings. Like you can enjoy sculpture. I mean, we don't know who sculpted all those beautiful iconographic sculptures in Chidambaram or Hampi or Halebeet or Konarak or Khajuraho or any of these beautiful, beautiful temples that we have. But we still enjoy those lovely, lovely sculptures. So that is Dvaita, where you can separate the artist from his work of art. The same with poetry. A poet can write his poetry and step back, and the poetry is there to be enjoyed for time immemorial. But among all the art forms, it's only dance that belongs to the realm of Advaita. Because, like I say often enough, the moment you create and move to the next, movement, this earlier movement has already perished. So the creator and all of creation cannot be separated. You cannot separate the dancer from the dance. The moment the dancer creates, now let me think about one moment. I'm going to make a lotus. I have already made a lotus with a beautiful stem. Now the earlier lotus is gone, the lotus with the stem has come. Now the stem then becomes the bee hovering around the lotus. So in your mind, I have created the image of the lotus, the stem, and the bee. But the moment I changed from one to another, the earlier movement perished, a new movement began, a new Hasta Mudra began. A new Hasta begins when I move from one to another. So the earlier one has already dissolved, has already perished forever. I can't recreate it because I can make the lotus again. It will not be the same lotus. It's a different lotus in a different form, in a different time, in a different space. Because we are living in a dynamic world and we are forever moving. There's fluidity, there's dynamism, and one can never step back in time. We started this conversation at 10:30. It must be half an hour now. We cannot step back to 10:30 a.m. of 16th May. So in the same way, the dancer and the dance cannot be separated. And once the dancer creates and moves to the next item, next movement, the earlier movement has already perished forever. So, among all the art forms of India, it is only dance that belongs to the realm of Advaita, where you cannot separate the dancer from the dance. Do you agree, Guruji?
Very well said. See, we see that eternity and movement, they are two sides of the same coin. Because when we say movement, as you very well said, that by the time it is over, and so far whatever scientists have discovered through be it astrophysicians, be it any other realm, you see, from any chemist or any scientist, through any discipline, they are trying to decipher what is happening in creation. We call these avidya. Avidya is not negative, as you know. Avidya means the one which is dealing with the matter, that avidya. So through this avidyaik mode, whatever researches are coming, they are finding that every particle is in dance all the time. They call it wave particle motion, it was said. All the time they say there is a motion. And same thing Adhyatma is saying. But on stages, orbits, they are telling that in this orbit this happens, so the name is given. Like we say, Brahm. Brahm is the one which moves. Brahm is the dance. That is where the cosmic dance comes, which we are saying. That the movement begins. And that once that wall is set rolling, it is not going to stop. It has to keep changing and changing different forms and frames. You keep making something, or so long as you are dancing, you are dancing. You are one with that. So this is how it is, that whole creation within the creator is dancing. Every particle is dancing, and sometimes when we are in ecstasy we say soul dance. This is the word. So dance is definitely that form which we most closely can relate to it, because we do not have. So words are so intertwined here in Indian languages, especially if you see Sanskrit. Like there is a word anrit, means lie. Satyam nanritam, there is a saying. Speak the truth, don't speak the lie. Nritya. If it is anrit, means it is a lie. Nrit means, if you remove that a, then it becomes nrit, means truth. So if you see through words journey also, it comes closest to the dancing form that one associates movement of life, because consciousness, we say movement. We identify consciousness. There are stages in spirituality where even consciousness is also put to sleep. We call it Turiya Avastha, Turiya Atita Avastha. But so long as their times, the existence is not there. So we can't speak of those dimensions. We can only experience. But the moment I said time begins, because everything here, what we are doing, we are, as you said, we can't go back. We have just moved. We have to keep moving. That's how. We can change forms, we can do whatever we want to do. But it is so, what is this time? Time is nothing but the consciousness. So if we can go beyond consciousness, then we become eternal. And then there is movement and eternity becomes same. But because all of us are in time, doing something or other in one form or the another. So this is the best way we can relate to the life, that if you have life, you have consciousness, in one or the other way you must be dancing. You must be a dancing singer or singing dancers, dancing poet. Anyway, that's how it is said, even about the poetry. Japar kripa karahi jan jani, kabi ur ajir nachavahi vani. This says, to whom on God is pleased, He is making the Vani, the Saraswati, dance in that person's heart. So he is coming bursting into poetry or something. Yes. Then it is left. When you write a poetry, you can keep. Even today, you dance nowadays, you can make a video and keep. People can enjoy it later. But having said that, dance is most involved art. That is how it is. Because here, all four levels I say, here in Sahaj Smriti, body, mind, self and soul, all four are synced. Bhav, tal, laya, all are into that. And trying to synchronize the best way. Poetry you can write sitting ideally also. You can sit in a couch and write poetry. Any other forms you can take rest, but here you are in movement. So that is most wholesome art for a created being, for the person who is in some form. Because that we have already spoken that creator and creation are one, because there is only one. That is how the beginning says Akhanda Mandalakar. That it is akhand, it cannot be broken. It is one. You realize it or not, that is the difference. But what is, that is. So this oneness is already there. Somehow our mind runs hither and say, no, I am different, I am very special. The moment that humility of the ultimate truth dawns upon us, we feel like there is no lesser particle than me. I am the least of the particle in this creation. And why am I? I should not be also. It is so beautiful. Why should I anyway tinker with it if I cannot enhance it? If I cannot enhance people's vision to see how beautiful it is. So when we say Satyam Sivam Sundaram, that is what the cosmic dance is referred. To me, these genders come very late on the scene. Because we are having bodies, so we have to talk about that. But when it is being spoken about Prakriti, Purush, all these are not about female and male. It is about that Tattva which is being spoken, that this is how it is. This is how this whole creation is. So if you want to see, you should develop that vision. And this vision is imparted through someone. That is what the Sanatana Guru Parampara is. So when we are going and seeing and going down, and we also begin to see slowly how it is. So yes, you rightly said that dance form comes closest to the whole creation, how it can be expressed, how these kalas can be understood, and how one can move as a wholesome person. Because in others, few dimensions of our may not be at work. Here all possibility is for all dimensions to come. Physically also you are good, mentally also you have to be sound. Character wise it is a self, you are there, otherwise how can you explore the kalas? See, expression is what you have learned, you express, and others enjoy it through your art because you are expressing something. And people are, connoisseurs are there, they are enjoying that audience, that rasa they are enjoying. But if you want to explore yourself, then you have already passed that moment. You have gone somewhere deeper or voluminous, whatever you want to call, because it is a dimensionless world. So you have moved to the higher, to the deeper, that's how, to the voluminous. How else we describe in this language, Vaikhari, which has a limited quality or boundary about it, that you cannot express beyond a point. But you can definitely indicate, because Shabdam Brahma. Some indication happens and something happens within us. So this dance form definitely makes us amenable, open to realize that ecstasy, that fulsomeness of the creation, that what is your real potential is there. So all kalas some way are trying to express that only, and then they reach to the spiritual dimension, because anybody who is an artist cannot stop being spiritual somewhere or the other, to whatever extent, because that doesn't come without that. So they have to move towards the higher self, and they can become the best conduit for the world, because when you express the reality through arts, then what are the values you are, as you said about the values? There are the values. If you are upholding the values through art, then the world becomes beautiful, because there will be soft sentiments to be explored. Through softer versions you will be interacting with one another. So all these things, I have limitation of English, I understand. Had I been speaking in some Hindi, it would have been different. So we are, so this thing is there, that we are trying to go from mool word. Mulya mood comes from the mool. Mool means root. And how is our root? We say it very clearly. Urdhva mool adho shakha. that our root is up and our branches are down. So we have to carry that, so we have to go higher to uphold those values. So the more the conscious within us is evolving, automatically we become more responsible. And then we become carrier of those values when we are responsible. That is why it is called to Guru Uttardayitva. It is his responsibility. Uttardayitva. It is nobody's responsibility. Responsibility is of that one who assumes it and delves deep into it and see, no, I am responsible for the whole creation. My one movement, one sleight of hand creates havoc or heaven in this creation. So I should be very careful. I should not trample on anything. I should reach to that stage of ahimsa, from where the possibility of getting that reflection of eternity possible. So that becomes mirror. The person who is evolving like this. Today you are means to so many students, you are teaching them. They are learning through you dance. So these many people are getting transformed through you towards higher values automatically. And these someday will start mirroring that eternity. And they will enjoy themselves, and through them the whole creation will enjoy. The ones who are in their vicinity, they will see them through their own eyes, that how it liberates, how the art liberates. So liberation, all these higher values, they come with this conglomeration of all these things. Value, art, spirituality, everything is moving towards one direction. All good things, as we say, move towards one direction. As we say, why we are such sayings have emanated, that all great people think alike. Because more you move towards higher, automatically you will find oneness. So that is how our Vedas says, Ano Kritva Yantu Vishwata. Let all noble thoughts come to us, flourish through us, from wherever they are coming. So such is our journey, that definitely art is carrier of values, and the people who are doing sadhana, they become example in the society. So more and more we promote art, more and we open people for the art, we are creating a much more human and ultimately a divine society, a global society. Because globe in our understanding as a small thing, as we have been saying, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So world becomes a little lesser, Vasudha is little bigger than the world which we call. So then we are seeing this whole, that's why such things. So we have to evolve through arts and reach to our real self, keep evolving. There is no end. And we say Anant. We are the Amritasya Putra, Anant Kishantanaya. So that we have to realize that infinity within, and that definitely is something subtler, we know. But if we are going through arts, then our even senses, mind, self, body, all becomes open to that. They understand their limitations, that this is my limitations. Like everything has a limitation, but balance is put. See, when limitation, we don't say that you erase something. As we are saying, we have a body and we call it is Vata, Pitta and Kapha, and we call them Dosh. But if you have some problem, health problem, do you remove one of these? No, you balance them. When it is balanced, then you are healthy, you don't remove anything. Same way in mind, we have these three things, Sat, Raj, Tam, which is whole creation, Prakriti. So do you remove? If you are sleeping more, you say I am Tamas, I will remove. You can't. If you are working all the time hard, you say I am Rajas. Can you remove? You can't. You are Sattvic, you say no, I am always delving into higher consciousness. I don't do any worldly work, so I am not capable of contributing this way. Do you remove that? No. You balance according to your personality. So then when you get the self, we have three things, word, mind and deed. So do you remove one thing or the other? No, you balance your mind and it becomes your word. You balance your word, it becomes your mind, your thought. Thoughtless you become. And then when you become, then you implement it to the karma. So you are free. So you have balanced that. So all these dosas, you have not removed them. They become good the moment you balance them. same dosas transform into gunas. And then you have to go beyond the gunas also. Because it is said on the higher stage, gun yah ubhay na dekhiye to abhivek. If you are seeing anything good or bad, then it is not virtue. Virtue is not to see good or bad, move beyond both. So then last stage is that of the soul. There also one vikar is there. What is that? This is ahankar. Now it becomes vikar if we are assuming that I am doing this. But the moment we surrender, no, whose ahankar? Ahankar, it is of the ultimate, not mine. So you put into the higher form or guru form, then you are free from that. The same vikar becomes avikar. And vikar, as you know very well, it is not negative in any way. It is only evolution for a further, where Atma becomes avikari. And then you become a wonderful human being. And then you see the wonder. And then you become the means to the wonder. And that is how it is told everywhere. That somebody is telling wonderfully about it, the soul. Somebody is listening about it wonderfully. But some even by listening don't get it. So all the things, how beautifully and balanced way the Gurus have told. That is what the Sanatan Guru Parampara is. And the Sanatan Guru Parampara here in this land, it has taken its root in all the forms. In all forms, all art forms, there is Guru Parampara. But the root is that of spirituality. That is how we all considered it one. Because that oneness, through our arts, we are trying to propitiate that the one alone exists in all of us, in our all of us. And to that one only we keep going down. So that remembrance is. And best thing I have found is that when you see other divine, and what happens, most of the things which you might end up doing wrong, that is removed. The moment this is there, no, I may be wrong 100%, but other can't. Because it is God who is reflected. Because we do not know ourselves fully. If we know ourselves fully, then it is different. So we say, assume other divine, but know thyself. Knowing is yourself. Assuming is other. You are not assuming yourself. You are assuming other, but knowing yourself. So that you keep exploring, and you chances of going wrong with His grace are minimized at least.
I would just, like to tell the viewers that just as on a spiritual journey, when one wants to set oneself on a spiritual journey, you go in search of a guru to lead you on that path to higher consciousness. In the same way, in our arts, we have to search for the right guru who will remove that illusion of ajnana and take us on the path towards jnana. So earlier, when we had the transmission of the arts, dance and music, it used to happen in the Guru Shishya Parampara module. For example, the Shishyas would seek out the Gurus. They would go and spend a lifetime with the Gurus, serving the Gurus, listening to the Gurus, and absorbing all the manifest and the unmanifest around the Guru. So these days it's not the same, as you know, because if somebody wants to learn dance, they're already thinking about the purpose of being famous, or maybe dancing in some dance shows or reality shows, or they're thinking about money, fame, glamour. Those are the considerations for which people go to dance classes. The teachers who teach them in these dance classes call themselves gurus, dance gurus. And I have always had an objection to it, because I feel that, I went to a guru whose whole life was about the art. He wasn't the best of human beings, I have to confess. He wasn't. He was a very flawed human being. He had many flaws. But despite that, what I was seeking from him, I was very clear about. I wanted to learn excellence in my chosen art form, which was dance. And so I went to him. And just by going to him, he taught me technique. He taught me, he gave me invaluable body of work, body of dance work, which I keep revisiting when I have to do my performances. But I feel that this yoking of the mind to the higher consciousness, and to believe that all that you practice is the yoking of the mind to the higher consciousness, whether it is yoga, whether it is nritya, whether it is Sangeeta. So unless you yoke your mind to a higher reality, to a higher consciousness, there will be no transcendence. That dance will just remain, even if you are the best dancer in the world, it will just remain in the realm of perfection of technique. It won't take you to a level of higher consciousness unless you yoke your mind with the higher consciousness and you transcend your body to be able to express what you're trying to express. So the reason I'm connecting yoga and nritya is because these days, internationally, we talk about yoga, India, yoga, spirituality. They've all become, synonymous. But a lot of them don't understand that yoga also, there are so many different aspects of yoga. Yoga karmasu kaushalam is what defines yoga in all its manifest and unmanifest ways. Loosely translated, it means yoga is the practice of action towards perfection. We have spoken about that all this while, Guruji, that yoga, that life is a practice of action towards perfection. What is spirituality? Spirituality is the conscious practice of action, our everyday action towards perfection. And in the same way, channelizing the thought towards the goal of perfection is the first step for gaining success in all endeavors. So yoga is yoking the mind to a higher consciousness, and a yogi is one who has succeeded from the mind into the realm of mindlessness. So mindfulness to mindlessness. These are two different things. Even in dance, I keep trying to explain this to people, that you're very conscious of your body. You're very conscious of your technique that you have perfected. You've taken years and years and years of practice to perfect the body technique. And after perfecting the body technique, you've also perfected the art of expression, that you have used all your sensory organs to express a certain thought or a feeling. And you've done this consciously. You've done this mindfully. But when you're on stage and you're giving out a story, you're doing an expression, you're communicating a feeling of anything that is, anything, whether it be sorrow or happiness or joy or smith, you're doing it mindfully, but you have to do it, you have to transcend the body and what you have learned to the realm of mindlessness. And that is when you actually reach the higher purpose of art, the higher purpose of consciousness, and you release your body. And when you release your own body into that higher realm, you're also releasing the minds and bodies of the rasikas, the prekshakas around you, because they are in your world of illusion that you're creating. And if you just remain at the level of perfection of the body, they will remain at the realm, at the plane of earth, of worldly desires. It's only when you're able to transcend your body and take them towards a path of higher consciousness that they are also able to leave their bodies behind and experience rasanubhuti. So we know that, like you said, and many great rishis and gurus have said, that Brahma Satyam, Jagat Nityam. So there's only one truth, which is Brahma, and the Jagat around us is Mithya. Uh, what do you have to say about that, Guruji?
You have rightly said, see, to begin with from the stage, when artist is ecstatic, then only the possibility is that the audience at least will be feeling pleasurable. So he or she has to be always in a higher world, and that is true, because he or she is transforming and he or she is transcending, and that is how it is transmitting. So bhava is received when he sees, and when this you are saying that yoga karmashu kausalam, that is true, but that is reminder of the limitations. Body, when they are remembering, that means they are remembering not their potential but their limitations. An artist, when is remembering limitations, how can it attain to its highest potential? It has to see that it is the unlimited has to express itself through the artist. That possibility, if he is not open up to that, then how can that happen? So openness is a very big thing there. How much open one is. And here we say very clearly, as you see, that when we go to learn, you devoted your life, you went to a guru, and now people are learning through you. So you are the best person who is telling about this, how it happens. This is an authentic knowledge which will be kept there, and people, those who are now connected to us, they are getting it first hand, that this is coming authentic knowledge about arts and reality. But when we say about Guru Parampara, that we have to say Guru we refer only in real sense, in the spiritual sense. All others arts which are there, they may become gurus of that art, that is true, but they are not, the Guru word we are referring only to the divine. They may be great spiritually attained people, maybe so much so that others, those who are calling themselves spiritual gurus, they may not be that much attained. That an artist in some form may be. That is not the point here. Point here is setting the order right, because the difference between Brahm, as I say, and Brahm, illusion and Brahm, reality and illusion, what is the difference? It is Kram, order. If order is not kept proper, then Brahm becomes a Brahm, and Brahm appears to be as Brahm. So order is that Guru is only spiritual. We are referring Guru only to the spiritual Guru. So that is Sanatana Guru Parampara. Through all other arts, they are doing sadhana, and they are doing so much so that you are from Karnataka, you know there are stories that some, I think Channavasappa temple or somewhere, that the father made the statue. He was making the vigraha and somebody battered it. Then he said, nobody can batter it. I will cut my hand or something. And who was that? That turned out to be his own son. Then he said, now it's possible, because what all he has imbibed in the family, in the genes, and everywhere, that is coming there. So sadhana is a very big thing, devotion is a thing, but what are we applying it for? If we have taken whatever art we have chosen, today's world, as you are saying, it is tough for people because they are making themselves miserable. If their choice becomes clear, if their taste is clear, they keep bettering their taste and they keep refining it, and then their choice is clear, then today also the same thing can be experienced. There is nothing, because when we say eternity and movement is same, then there is no future, no past, if you are ready to do that sadhana, anyone. So that all can be experienced today and any time, any moment of life, but there is sadhana behind it. So people, those who choose, no, I am doing it, because we have so many different, samatvam yoga uchyate. That is also, have you reached to that evenness, where you have crossed the non-violence part and have become one with the eternity, one with the sanatana. Or we are struggling somewhere between dharma, truth and consciousness, love. So transcending mind, but there are higher fields there, another orbit, mandalas, another mandal. You understand the nuances of that mandal, then you can balance that and move beyond. Now that much time is not there today. People are not, how will I do? I can learn few techniques and move on and become somebody. That is where the people are going. So first thing it is put, that is why the spirituality comes as beginning here. Once we are telling our children that no, you are not a mortal being, you are Amritasya Putra, you are divine, in the sense you are immortal, only coils is changing, only your dress is changing like body. So focus yourself, there is no hurry for you, just be what you need to be. You do what you need to do, because there is nothing, nobody is going to do anything with you if you are focused, if you are truth. And other than truth, there is no page today in the world on which all can come together. They may say my truth is this, my truth, but truth alone is there from where people say, okay, if it is truth, I will follow. If it is truth, then it is okay. So we have to find that common page to the world. That is where all your concerns are there that will be addressed, possibilities there. Today, with these enhanced means of communication, if we want to communicate our message, we want to communicate our art to the whole globe, we can do it instantly. So when this, we can bring people on the same page. Today through discussions, debates, whatever levels we do, we make such efforts that every conversation transcends to the satsang. It becomes the truth. What is the difference? When we are in conversation, something or other is refining within us. We are contributing to the whole pool. And then the other person comes and they imbibes it and they maximize it, and there is plenty. That is how the prosperity is created. So when we are considering Vasudha Kutumbakam, what are we doing for it? Practically speaking, I say I consider this Vasudha Kutumbakam, I consider this whole family, but I want to move to the certain country. They say, do you have visa? Now for my whole family, I need a visa to visit them. So these are things which we have to work out. But message today through technology, we can approach whole world. We can bring people to the truth. And I was asked sometime about my suggestion towards education system. And I have said, only if you put one sentence in the primary school, that Amritas Putra Vayam. From the childhood, child gets this one education right, that he or she is not a mere mortal being. And he begins to live in that consciousness. He or she will see that all this illusion is there for his or her help to enjoy the creation. He himself is that part of that Sanatana. Amsha. Amsha means not different, as you told in the example, because we need some worldly example. Then in the sculptural sense, that sculpture is out and sculpture is there. Here we are not there. In Sanatan, Ansha cannot be separated from Sanatan. It is always there. The difference lies, one is realizing and another has not realized. So the fastest way and simplest way is when one is there in the school, that time only, you put him or her on correct path by giving. So here in our parampara, then only you understand. Otherwise those remains as stories. Howsoever grand your literature, do you see anywhere in the world grand literature like Mahabharata and Ramayana? There is not there. And when people were climbing up the trees, they were creating such literature was available. How high we were in our thinking, how high we were living, in what kind of consciousness we were living. We were there where we need to be. But over the period of time, this has happened. That is where I say, whether you consider it evolving from divine to human or human to divine evolution, both things we have to take into our stride and bring people on the page of truth. Let us begin with the truth and we talk that truth. That is what Upanishad. That you bring out your truth, that this is my truth, and then we talk. That is where we sangachadhvam, samvadadhvam, sambho manansi janadam, deva bhage yatha purve, sangyanana upashate. let us move together. This is the mantra. It is not saying my truth is greater than yours. No, truth is truth. If one is greater, then greater truth's quality is that it easily accommodates the lesser truth. So no contradiction, no problem will be there. Or it is small, or it is happy being in the ocean, like a fish is in the ocean. Happy. Sukhi neer jahan neer, sukhi meen jahan neer agada. Where the water is plenty, the fish is happy. What all it needs? Its life is there. All around it is seeing life and life. That's all it is seeing. So such is our journey. That if we want people to evolve, we have to bring them to the page of truth. That all come together and keep continuing in dialogue. Be always in dialogue. This is very necessary. To avoid any confrontation, the best way is maximize the dialogue. Sangachadham samvadatum. That we move together, we speak evenly, we speak the truth. Sambho manansi jantam. In our mind, self and soul we consider all as one. And as our ancestor used to do, that is the rider. So it has been put very clearly. That where will you put time into? If it is coming from eternity, so they say purve, earlier. So this purve and paschim, we are paschim. If we consider something purv means earlier, then we become later, that's paschim. Not in the sense of direction, pura paschim, east or west. It is in the purv earlier and paschim after that. So after that we are going. And as it is in orbits, so who is going behind who? That is how all becomes one. So if we begin our journey with the truth, then these sadhakas which you are speaking, that these days they don't find that much patience within them. They want to learn something quickly and want to become somebody and some. This will not give them, as you already said, this will not give them that ecstasy within. That will not make them experience their higher self. It may make them understand something, it may make them earn some name, some fame, some money. Fine. At least, how I see, at least they are not indulging in something bad activity. They have come to art. So that is again a win-win situation. So in every way, a good thing is a good thing. So, but if they want to attain to their highest potential, then yes, they should go the way you have said from your experience. That there are gurus who are devoting their whole life. Every moment is for that. Something must be there that these gurus from whom we are learning, they are ready to devote their whole life. They must have found some rasa into it. And so much so that they are ready to sacrifice everything. So that is a reality. But if we are not prepared to receive that, how can we experience that? So spirituality or any art form is leading us towards evolving to our higher self, where we keep becoming better and better vessels. That is wow, it says, no, in a said very simple words, you put Guru Kumar Sushukumbh hai, Gad Gad Kaadhe Khot, Andar Haath Sahay De, Bahar Bahe Chot. That Guru is like that pitcher made out of clay. Therefore inside is keeping the hands, he is keeping a hand, and outside he is tapping and making it a beautiful pitcher, a beautiful vessel which can contain everything. So that is how this making, if one goes through it. But for that one has to be the truth. Truth is not something. Truth is oneself, and nobody knows oneself better than oneself, at least when it comes. So removing anatma from the atma. Atma only we keep, anatma we keep. Removing. And the truth. So we say atma shakti. That truth if we become, then any art we are going through, we will enjoy it. What else comes as name, fame or following, let that be there. That's His mercy, something is happening like that. But am I not enjoying myself fully all the moment? Then there is something to worry about. If my every moment is ecstatic, no, this, even if this is last moment to live here on earth, I am ecstatic. I have no issue if this time only my life goes. The prana is leaving. Oh, I have done everything what I was supposed to do, and I am doing everything I am supposed to do. So that fulfillment every moment, then only we can say the eternity and movement is one. If something is led, then we are lagging behind in time. So life, anything we call it, it is you, the person. So these yous, you in plural, that artists, those who are coming, learning through you, they need to learn that. They too. Pratibhaji herself cannot say. See, they have to imbibe. They have to live in that vicinity and understand, then soak into it, and then evolve. That is how the Guru Parampara was important. Sanatan. Because there you soaked every way staying with the Guru. It is not one way. Art might be teaching one part of it. Whole life you are learning there. How an artist should live. How he or she should conduct in a society. Everything is coming just like that. And because that person whom we call Guru is being open vessel, he has no likes and dislikes of anyone, just open for anyone. You come and you get filled. It's open. But we need to evolve to that stage where we become supatra, that we become capable of imbibing that. Then this becomes ecstatic world. So it is our choices and taste that define that to what extent we will become the conduit of values. Else we keep, some becomes only means, some becomes medium, but rarely one becomes the conduits, nimitta matra bhavarja, that you become only the nimitta, the conduit. Something very higher is opening through you. You are just not becoming an obstacle into that. You are just letting that happen, let it flourish at its best, and you are the truth. So the truth has to begin from oneself. And when that is the mode, then today also all those things, it will take time. It sounds so, I understand that it sounds so platonic or so, such a thing that what are utopian, that it can happen today. No, but it can begin from here. Every moment is a new beginning. If somebody decides, no, I am the truth, let me figure it out. What kind of truth I am, who I am, and what I am here for. Or I am just mere, I was born, I will die one day. In between these two happenings, I have to do what I have to do. Then it is a waste life. That's how the Krishna sums it. If you are considering yourself from birth to death, life gone waste. You have not kabuhuk kar karunan nardehi det ishman hetu. It is not attained like this, achieved like this. Human frame is given to a very rare ones. You see, so plenty of humans are there, that so many people have done good work. But are they remembering that what they are here for? So Upanishad is means for that we begin from our truth and we reach to our highest potential.